a talk about games, played by Ryan and Mike. A modern, a retro video game show. Yes, we talk about games and sometimes other stuff, like Star Trek. It's a blast, our gaming podcast.
Hello and welcome to another Talk About Games. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike, and I'm just realizing now that one of my favorite parts of this show is right before you see this part of the show, the very beginning. Ryan, we have a clapboard, and every time Ryan does the clapboard right before we film, and then he takes it and throws it across the room real angry. And that's my favorite.
Get it out of here.
Throw it.
I don't need it.
You always throw it across the room instead of just like putting it on a table or something. It's
Right.
it goes. And speaking of the set, so a while ago so we had this table, but you get annoyed because your legs can't go under the table.
Like right now, there's no legs. This isn't really a table. This is a desk.
Right.
Right? And you're under the desk.
Yeah.
And I am against the wall here.
And you hate it.
Yeah. Because, like it's fine. You sit like this for 10 minutes, you're good.
Yeah.
But you sit like this for 2 hours, and you're like, why is it like that? Why is it like that? Right? So we have a new table coming. We've had a new table coming for over a year. So
what is this fucking table?
So
why don't we just go to the store and get a table? Like, what's the problem? Like,
so I don't want to talk about like what the company is and all of that.
Okay.
But it's a gaming table. Mm-hmm. And it's built for streaming, where it has 3 sides. On this side, it's like a trapezoid, right? So like I could be sitting on an edge. You could be sitting on an edge. Third person who will never be on this show could be sitting on the edge over there.
We don't have guests on this show.
No, we don't. And then
Have you ever heard the theme song? It says with Ryan and Mike.
It's Ryan and Mike.
It's not Ryan and Mike and Leonardo.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool though if Leonardo walked
like an
in
animated.
Right now.
Yeah, the only guest we'll ever have on the show will be animated. Right.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, so it has like room for multiple people to sit. And the table is actually made for, there's a whole genre of podcasts where they like reenact D&D, or they have like a D&D campaign, Dungeons and Dragons. So it's made.
I gathered.
Well, that's not for you. That's for them. You know, it's a video game audience.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but they know like Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mystara and shit. They know these. They all know what fucking Dungeons and Dragons is.
I hope so.
D&D.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
where's this fucking table?
So it's not here.
Did they give you a reason? I would think so. After a year, they should give you a reason. Or if I was waiting for a table, how long was it supposed to be?
So it was supposed to come at the beginning of March, and that would have been 8 months from when I ordered it,
Which is already a long time.
which is a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
And now it's May.
Now it's May.
So where's the fucking table?
Yeah. It's looking like it's gonna be August.
By that time, we're probably both going to be dead.
Right. We're not gonna make it to August. Right.
So they better send the table like
I can't
tomorrow.
wait. Yeah. Anyway, today on the show, we're talking about Fortnite. Fortnite, guys.
Fork knife.
10 days for our British friends. And who else? And what is your game?
Oh, Wild Guns on Super Nintendo.
Wild Guns. So let's get into Fortnite. So recently, I built a bunch of gaming PCs because we're going to have a Fortnite area at Too Many Games in June at the convention. And we're going to have a bunch of setups where people could come and sit down and play Fortnite.
I remember one of the previous years you had a big, like the bus and a balloon or something.
Yeah, we have a bus. We have a Fortnite bus. Oh, I got to find the bus. Anyway, I don't know where it is. I haven't seen that bus in so long.
Is it yours?
Yeah.
Yeah. What, did you blow it up or something?
It's got a pump in it, like inflates.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to build these 16 PCs, and one of the things I had to make sure was that they wouldn't drop under 60 frames per second. Right? So finding the right mix of components where it's not going to be a fortune to buy it, but also to make sure that it doesn't drop under 60 frames per second. It was like a big undertaking.
How do you ensure that?
So I used two tools. The first tool I used is in the game itself. There's a frame counter,
Right.
and the frame counter shows you.
Wait, you don't even mean as far as like recording it, like not like using OBS or something. You mean just to play the game?
Just to play the game.
Okay.
Right? But imagine, like, yeah, you could easily ensure that the game will run over 60 frames per second if you buy a bunch of $2,000 computers.
Okay.
But, it's for the convention. It's for a weekend.
Like somebody might barf on it.
Yeah, right. Or you have to buy them, like 16 computers.
Right.
It'd be $32,000 to
Right.
buy nice gaming
Just
ones.
to do some Fortnite
Just
stuff.
to do some Fortnite stuff. So
Right.
so I had to like tune it. I'm like, okay, what components do we have? What can we get cheap? What can we do? And as I'm going through this process of finding like the sweet spot configuration, using the frame counter and using something called Afterburner, which shows me like different stats on the screen.
Isn't that a game?
Yeah, yes, it is. But it's called. It's if you ever go on YouTube and you search for benchmarks for game, you know how everybody pretty much has like the same like little interface.
Okay.
That's Afterburner. So I use the tools and I find the sweet spot. And it turns out that today the sweet spot is about a 1050 Ti and a 7 series Intel i5 with 16 gig of RAM. And if you have that system in there, you'll hit 40 frames per second on medium quality
Okay.
the whole time.
Okay.
And I could build one of those computers for like $350.
Well, you said 40 frames per second.
60 frames.
You meant 60.
60,
Yeah.
sorry. And I could build one of those computers for about $350.
Okay.
Right? So that'll ensure that everybody can play, they can do it all. But to do that, I played a lot of Fortnite.
Yeah. There was something that was like, maybe it was like the new Atari or something like that, where they were like, oh, you could play the new like Fortnite on it, or you could play Fortnite on it, but people were like, yeah, and it'll like run at like 30 frames per second, like these computers that they try to sell you and whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
And that's not, yeah.
It's like if you're gonna get like the new Atari, what is it, the Atari VCS? If you're gonna get that, it's like I want to play like the new Atari games,
Right, like,
I'm
why
not
are you
playing
playing-
Fortnite on that? You know,
I think that's a problem with a lot of these mini consoles and like new console projects and stuff. It's like,
it's just that's a weird selling point to me for like if you want like a new Atari, it's like I'm not thinking about Fortnite when I'm buying that. You know,
you know what's funny? Someone said to me today, they're like, I don't think we're ever going to buy PS5s. In relation to the convention, they said, I don't think we're ever going to buy PS5s.
and don't you think? Well, I mean, okay, so like. So there's all these problems with getting chips, so it takes a long time to get the PS5. Do you think that this problem with how long it's taking, because you can't like go into Target and get like a PS5. It's
Right.
like, a lot of people buying them off eBay if you want to get one. Do you think that this is gonna like be the final like nail in the coffin to kill like consoles? Because if you're one of these companies and you're like, yo, if you're like, oh, we want to make the PS6. Or we
Right.
want to make the next thing. We want to make the
Right.
next Xbox or whatever. Aren't they going to be like a little bit worried? Like, if we go to make the next thing, is it going to be like we can't get them into stores? Why don't we just put our games out on fucking Steam or something? Like, this is
Right.
stupid.
well, I mean, think about it, right? You're 2 years out from the PS5 launch. 2 years.
And you can't get the fucking thing.
And you can't get it.
You can get it if you want to
Right?
pay a lot of money.
But not only that, but
Right.
it's hard to get PlayStation 4s.
right.
Like right now, a PlayStation 4 on GameStop, $350.
I bought a bunch of them years ago, so I just have a bunch like sitting.
Yeah.
So I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
But like, I guess if you didn't a couple years ago,
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
And I mean, so the best way to get one, if you're looking for a PlayStation 4 right now, go on Facebook Marketplace and people sell them for $150 all the time.
okay,
But you got to watch out. You know,
you get some kind of weird deal.
because if you get
yeah.
something that's messed up or like you know, buyer beware, right? But you could score PS4s for $150 right now.
Okay, so Fortnite.
So Fortnite. I guess the biggest thing is Fortnite, in my opinion, right now is the biggest game. It's the biggest game. There's no contest. right? There may be the biggest game of the month
Right.
or the biggest game of the week, but Fortnite is consistently the biggest
Like
game.
consistently.
And you know, in the history of gaming, we have had other biggest games.
Minecraft.
Like Minecraft. Like there was a time Minecraft was the biggest game. It's still big.
Mario 3.
Yes.
Long ago.
Long ago, but it goes back that far. Like if you're talking about biggest games, you know, prior to filming when we were in the other room, you were like World of Warcraft. And I think
At a certain point.
in 2006,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sure.
Biggest game ever. Changed the culture, right?
You imagine that there was a time when the answer to that was Yar's Revenge?
Space
for a little
Invaders.
while. Space Invaders.
Space Invaders.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. And I think, you know, much like the other biggest games nowadays, it has to be more than just a game that you play that has a beginning and an end. It kind of has to be a system. Like look at other big games, like you said, like Minecraft and Roblox, right? These games are all massive systems. And even World of Warcraft before that. The games are ever changing. The Fortnite that I played in preparation for this episode was not the Fortnite
That launched. Sure.
The map is different. The quests are
And
different.
the one that you played is probably not, like the last time I played it was probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's different, you know?
So I just want to go through Fortnite kind of institutionalized the changes of the map because they have the idea of chapters and of seasons. So the original Fortnite, Chapter 1, although it wasn't called that because it was just the seasons.
Is there a way, can you go back and play Chapter 1 somehow?
No.
They don't let you do that?
No. Although now they're releasing like Throwback. It's funny, a game that's not very old is having throwbacks.
You would think they would make it to where like there's an option you could log in and you could like click like what season you want to play.
Yeah.
It's weird that they don't like allow that.
Well, you know, World of Warcraft, going back to that again, didn't create Classic until recently.
Oh.
So now World of Warcraft has Live, which is like the current expansion pack and everything. And then they have WoW Classic, which is like the original, the last patch before Burning Crusade came out. And I believe they're adding or have added like another Classic that's Burning Crusade.
Okay.
So eventually it's going to create, oh, you can play when you wanted.
When you want it, yeah.
Right? So Fortnite had 10 seasons, 1 through 9 and X. Then they blew up the world. And like
Now is X set in the future or is X 10?
it was X. Like it shows on the interface X. It's not Roman numerals until X. It's just like Mega Man.
Oh.
You know, like Mega Man,
All of a sudden they jump to it.
you hear that? Fortnite is just like Mega Man.
Same exact thing with no
Same-
with no differences actually.
No
Same
differences.
thing. Yeah. Proto
Right.
Man's in there.
Yeah. Dude,
whole
I
thing.
wouldn't doubt it. That's something I have to talk about. You know who's in Fortnite?
I know that the Avengers and shit are in there.
Yeah.
And like isn't like Wolverine in there and all that? Yeah.
Everybody. The
Yeah.
answer is everybody.
Okay.
Is in Fortnite. Because Fortnite,
When I played it, it was like I had like a pumpkin head.
yeah.
Like
So
and there's
right,
a banana guy.
So I'll go through the seasons and then I'll talk about what's going on right now in Fortnite because
okay.
that's some. So the ever-changing Fortnite has had 1 through 9 seasons. Then X came. Then they brought the game down for a few days, and the world ended. And the game was literally down for like 2 days
On purpose?
On purpose.
Okay. I didn't know about that.
And the world got sucked into a void and it was gone. And then Chapter 2 came out.
Okay.
And Chapter 2, the map was completely different. It was the same shape, but it was like they rebuilt it.
Okay.
And the world was recreated. Then they did 8 seasons of Chapter 2. And now they're in Chapter 3, Season 3. So there's been a lot of changes. And I think that's what is keeping people playing it because the guns change, the items change. And there's like a million items. You know how competitive Smash Brothers players play with no items? Fortnite is the opposite of competitive Smash Brothers because all the items are on.
Right.
And there's vehicles and there's mods for the vehicles.
Like Smash Brothers, like people like to turn all the items off. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like it gets kind of weird.
But
like
that's
that.
not Fortnite.
Right.
And the items that come with the different seasons constantly change, not only the like casual.
Do they always keep the same color classes, right?
Yeah.
For the guns.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I want to mention, we're going back to World of Warcraft, right? World of Warcraft has white items are common, green items are uncommon, blue items are rare, purple items are epic.
I wonder if that started it or if there was something previous that like started
Diablo.
it. Oh, it's Diablo?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Diablo had no purples. It went straight to the legendaries.
I see.
Right? But, Fortnite copies that. But, like, this is a type of game, this game wants to be the only game you play. That's what it wants to be. Mm-hmm. And the way they do that is daily challenges. Mm-hmm. Like, right now, as we recorded for this episode, the big challenge that was going on was there was a small event, the May the 4th Star Wars event. So there were lightsabers in the game. There was the Stormtrooper blasters.
This is why I wish we had unlimited time to record games for this show, because really, like, I see people talking a lot about like Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yo, I put like 1,000 hours in, or I put like 8,000 hours into this game. And I'm like, how am I supposed to put like 20 hours into a game like that and then come and talk about it on the show? It's like,
Yeah.
if I had unlimited time, I would love to like come to this show and talk like an expert on these games, but it's just like, then that would be the only, that's only one game. We do this show every week. I have to bring a different game. Like, I'll never be able to do that. It sucks. I wish I could though.
Yeah, because there's just so much here, and they're adding stuff every day. And you play this game, and like the latest like popular musicians, their like music's in the game. There's like the latest movie that's coming out. It's like, oh, I'm thinking I'm going to see Doctor Strange. Well, Doctor Strange is in it, right? Oh, I like
They have a lot of those Marvel tie-ins.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I like the Wu-Tang Clan. Well, the Wu-Tang Clan's in it.
They always do stuff like that where it's like whatever is kind of like the latest, most popular thing, that's what's going to end up in the game. Like you might find like, the Marvel characters or Spider-Man might be in these games, or like in Smite, I was playing that and they put the Ninja Turtles into it. Can't anybody ever like stick some stuff in it that's like more obscure? Can we have?
Well, let's talk about that. I was about to say that.
Okay.
Right now they're like, oh, we got like that. Like over Christmas when my son was playing, it was like Spider-Man, and you could swing around, and they had the swinging around Spider-Man mechanics, like exactly like the PlayStation game. Like it was crazy. Like you tell it's just money.
Right.
Right. Well, right now, sure, Doctor Strange is here, all those characters are here, but they just came out with the Prowler.
Okay.
Right?
See, it's still like Marvel though. I'm like, when are they gonna have like Jabberjaw, or like some fucking like really obscure shit? Like put like fucking Mr. Furley in there, or
Yeah.
like I'm not, or put like. It doesn't even have to be that old, but how about like a sitcom that's on now? Like throw us a loop is what I mean. Like how about Reginald Barkley is in there.
Right, there's like-
dude, if Barkley was in there, I'd play it again. Like
Yeah.
I'm like every once in a while throw people a loop. Why does it always have to be like, oh, Superman's in it? It's like
Well,
it's always like these giant Marvel or DC characters. Oh, Batman's in it. Oh, really?
So-
I'm fucking surprised you put Batman, because Batman's gonna be in every big fucking game ever. Like we know Batman's popular, so shit like that doesn't get me anymore. Like, oh, Wolverine's in it. Oh, really? I'm really fucking surprised.
Well,
I'd be surprised if
I think the Wu-Tang Clan tie-in was pretty obscure.
that's better. That's
right?
definitely better.
Because like, granted, Wu-Tang Clan, huge band.
Right.
But like...
But it's not like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have that like universal appeal. I like it.
Yeah.
But so then they have their creator series where like the big YouTube and Twitch creators that like Ninja and Lachlan and people like that are in there. And that's not for us, but for the kids that watch them,
It's for them.
being able to play as Ninja in the game or being able to play as this character or whatever. Like if this game came out 10 years ago.
So you're saying to me that the kids want Ninja and I want Mr. Furley.
Yeah,
So it's that, see where the problem lies here.
I do. Right. But like the culture has to move on, right?
Why?
In a way. I don't know.
Move on and get shittier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a dark side to all of this, though, and I am going to talk about the actual game. You know, because kind of the dark side to this is.
Oh, you're gonna tell me that Darth Vader? You can play as Darth Vader? Is that?
I'm sure you can,
okay.
but
You're not going there.
No. Although this game is totally free to play, 100% free. You can download it right now and play it, and millions upon millions of people play it. All this shit I'm talking about, from the Creator series to the WooWare to the play as Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, whatever.
Did you say WeWare?
WooWare.
Oh.
That's the clothing brand for Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, I thought you said WeWare.
All this stuff. It costs money. It costs something called V-Bucks. And
oh, it's like fucking pay to win shit.
no,
Oh,
it's pay to stylize.
Oh, customization shit.
Customization. Costs money. Like right now, you can go into the game.
Yeah.
And you could pick up the same Luke's lightsaber or Kylo Ren lightsaber or blaster that I can.
I won't be doing that.
Right. But
I would be very happy if I never saw another fucking lightsaber the rest of my fucking life.
it's actually really cheap.
Isn't everybody sick of fucking lightsabers yet? Are we good?
I'm kind of sick of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing.
The whole thing. But I'm especially sick of lightsabers, and you know why? Because you see lightsabers appear in a lot of other things. They'll say, "Oh, it's not a lightsaber. It's a
laser sword.
It's a laser sword or whatever." It's like, can we enough with
Yeah.
the fucking light swords and shit? I'm tired of it. It's boring. I want other weapons and other more interesting things. We've all seen the fucking lightsaber. Are we done with the fucking lightsaber?
So, say you don't like... Yes, we are done with the fucking lightsaber.
We're not, because we're going to keep hearing about it.
It's in the game right now.
Yeah.
You can play it for another 5 days, so
Yeah. Okay.
get on it. No, there is a storyline that is exclusive to Fortnite.
Okay.
In addition to these licensed things. And right now, as near as I can tell, there's a group called the Seven, and there's a group called the IO, and they're fighting a war. Mm-hmm. And right now, there's like, I'll talk about PUBG in a little bit, but there are places where you can drop. Because, you know, in Fortnite, the bus flies over, and then you drop.
I like that, yeah.
There are places you can drop that are like contested areas where people are fighting, where a lot of people drop.
Yes.
Because there's good items there. It's very competitive.
Absolutely.
Plus, people who are streaming, they drop in these areas because they want there to be action on their stream.
When I would play it, I would do the opposite because because I'm not good at the game.
Right.
So I would try to avoid those areas. Like there'd be a big castle in the middle. I'm like, everybody goes there, everybody goes here. I would try to drop in the middle of nowhere because you have to wait for the game to load. There's that like waiting queue.
Yeah.
After I wait like 5 minutes, whatever, I'm finally into the game. I don't want to land and be dead immediately because I'm not good.
Right.
I want to land and be able to like screw around for a little bit. I got a question for you.
Sure.
So I'm bad at the game.
Sure.
But I like playing it. It's fun to go around with the guns
Yeah.
and whatever. So you were talking about you could play the game. You know that you're not. I know that sometimes it'll load the game with bots. I don't want to play against bots. I want to play against real people, but I want to play against like a 4-year-old that doesn't know how to play so that I can win sometimes. How do you do that?
Well, so this game, I like and dislike the matchmaking in this game.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because the matchmaking in this game is laser tuned to make you feel like a fucking badass.
It never does because I guess I'm so bad at it.
Okay,
Even
so
the laser
you
tuning,
haven't played in a while.
I haven't.
So when the game
been years.
the average age of Fortnite player has dropped precipitously over the last 2 years.
Oh.
Right? So like I'll tell you how you can know. If you download the game right now and played, your first 10 games would probably be against all bots.
Right.
But they would have like real looking names.
Right.
But you can kind of figure it out.
How do you know when the real people start coming?
Because they act totally different. Like the bots, it's kind of obvious how they act.
Okay.
So right now in my Fortnite career, I've had 3 phases of games that I've played. The first phase, I was fighting against bots. And I beat them.
So would you say that's like a certain number of games or how much time you
It
put into it?
has to do with how well you do.
Oh.
Like my first 6 games I played, I won 5 of them.
Okay.
So obviously it was against bots. Then it started getting to be all the people were marked as anonymous. And why were they marked as anonymous? Because they're kids. Right? So it's like you got killed by Anonymous 7. Like my son plays Fortnite, but I have him set to can't talk to anybody, anonymous.
The first time I ever played the game,
yeah.
I didn't, because you know me, I'm playing like Atari and shit.
Right.
I didn't know any of this. I start playing the game and the voices start coming out of the fucking thing. And the things I heard, I was like, holy shit, I gotta turn this off.
Yeah, I have all that off.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
So then I started fighting and everybody was anonymous. And I'm like taking them out. I'm like winning, right? And that was like an interesting thing. That was like 10 games where I'm playing against mostly anonymous people, some bots, like a mix. Now when I play against people who have names that are like, it feels like you're playing a multiplayer game online.
Okay.
And they do like smart things and I lose, I win. I have like a mix. I'm only winning like every 4 games or
Is squatting frowned upon?
what? Like teaming up with people?
No, meaning like you just wait.
Oh, like the camping, like that.
Is that they call
I guess
it
they call it
camping?
squatting.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought it was called that.
So I would say that the way a streamer plays is way different than the way like a player plays.
Okay.
Right? Like streamer, because the most interesting content is the beginning
Yeah.
where there's like a bunch of people and you're like trying to get your items, and the end where it's like
When that's closing in real
it's
tight.
like a chess
yeah.
game
Sure,
where it's
right,
like real tight, right? So I think that the way that a streamer would play is they drop in a place like Tilted Towers where it is like, a lot of action, and then they fight like towards the middle of the circle. Whereas like if I'm trying to win, because like a lot of objectives in the quests will be like do a thing and then get top 25. Right? Or do a thing and then this happens.
You just wait for the other people to die and then like you kind of wait it out.
Well, I like walk in with the circle.
Walk in with the circle, yeah.
Right? So I have like the circle to my back.
Right. I see.
Right? And that's like a lot of times where you play like more conservatively, but I think that's less interesting. So you're like looking around. And then the other thing is I always try to like the term in PUBG, I don't know if this is the term in Fortnite, but it's third partying. So I won't shoot at anybody. If I'm trying to like rack up my score and like do well, I won't shoot at anybody that's not being shot at.
Okay.
Right? So if I see a guy running across here,
You just leave them.
if I'm not 100% sure that I can just kill him real quick, I'll just make note, okay, he's over there. And I've like walked in with people and then just wait till they get shot and then shoot them in the back and then move back and line up for the next person where I'm like defensible. And I think that third partying and creating these third party situations is how a lot of the streamers look like they're better than they really are.
Oh.
Because I feel like that approach is so powerful.
Okay.
And if you could control, the other thing is, by the way, PUBG is Player Unknown Battlegrounds, and it's kind of the gameplay that they've ripped off to make Fortnite.
I see.
100 people drop, the circle closes in.
But from what I've heard is that I was going to like try PUBG, but then a lot of people would say, well, don't because it's broken.
So for a while, like I would say 90 days to 180 days after PUBG came out, there were so many Chinese hackers, it was impossible. Like,
Okay.
like where we were playing, like they'd be constantly like hopping and shooting in the air and
Do you know if it's fixed now?
oh yeah.
Okay.
But the problem with PUBG is 90% of the player base is outside of North America.
So what, does it take a long time to connect or something?
Matchmaking takes a while, and like all the skins they're adding and all the events they're doing are like for people in China.
Oh.
So like you won't get any of the like. It's like, why'd they pick that? Oh, it's not for me. They're not putting Marvel in. They're not putting
Something else, right?
They're putting in things that you don't.
So I have some other things. So I just want to mention, since we're doing this, so like a lot of people would think that I wouldn't like Fortnite
Right.
because it's like, I'm primarily a retro gamer, Super Nintendo, NES, all this stuff. And like, but I like to try anything. And some new games I play and I don't like them, but I played Fortnite and I mostly did like it. But you know what? I liked that a lot of games like that are very like everything, like especially like, in like the PS2, PS3 era, like all that. Like I felt like everything was very dark or brown or muddy and all that. And Fortnite is not like that at all. It's like this bright, colorful, like land or whatever you want to call it. And I felt like it wasn't one of these games that also rained a lot and all that. It was,
Right.
you could like, it was always a blue sky, lots of colors, and you could see. Like that's what I want. I want to be able to see. I don't want these like bullshit like environmental things like getting in the way. So I really liked that about Fortnite, and I liked the grabbing the different guns and dropping from the whole thing. The thing that I didn't really get into, or the problem I had with it is and it's only because I'm bad at it, is the forts themselves. Like I can't
Like building towers.
You see the people and they build a whole tower in 2 seconds, and you just see this go up, and I'm like, I can't. Like I have to like even with the mouse, if it's like binded and all that, I've tried that, and it's like I guess you just have to like get like really used to it, and like it's a game that you play all the time, so eventually you get good at it. But I'm more the type of person like, I'll play it for a few hours. I never got good at building it, so I would know, like, I could put down a couple, like, pieces of wood or whatever, but it's like to build the thing, I couldn't do it.
This season, they added the no-build modes. And the no-build mode is pretty cool because it plays way more like a regular shooter.
That's, like, what I always wanted.
Yeah, and a lot of people play it, and I like to play it. And no-build is great.
One other thing.
Yeah.
There's a thing that they would add every once in a while. Sometimes it comes back, and then they take it away. There's a mode called Air Royale where you can get in planes and you just go around, and you don't go on the ground. You're just in the planes, and it's like dogfighting.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that. I wish that they would make it, because I'll hear about it and it's like, oh, Air Royale's back. And it's like, oh, I'll try that. And then by the time I go to actually try it, it's like gone again.
Right.
I want them to just put a mode in and keep it forever, because it's really cool. Like, and I would also like, as the seasons go by and they do new whatever seasons and all this, if they took the Air Royale and continually like improved it and like made it better and like changed the planes and changed what you can do and stuff.
Right.
Because like I love that mode, and they always take it away. Stop taking it away.
Yeah, I'll tell you, over Christmas, I was playing with my son a bunch, and they had the Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And like being able to swing around everywhere,
That's
and
probably
like
really
jump
cool.
up and like get up everywhere.
Yeah.
It kind of alleviated some of the building pressure because you could just swing up to where things were. And that was really cool. And then they had the Iron Man, like the repulsors and
Right.
stuff. And I liked all of that. Right now, the Star Wars stuff is like so overpowered. Like somebody comes up with a lightsaber and like you have to get behind them. But what's nice about the lightsaber is like they can block you all day, but eventually they have to move up and they have to do things so you can get around them. But like dudes with lightsabers are big thing in the way. One last thing I want to mention is, obviously the goal is to kill everybody and be the last man standing,
right.
but the game also has like all of these quests and all of these side goals where it's like, go here, do this, talk to this guy, talk to the stormtroopers, talk over here, do the thing. And you could just be in the game, just doing things on your own little thing, and you might fight somebody and all that, but you may be shooting a lot of like computer characters.
Okay.
You might not have to be in a fight with people really all that much if you're going after the objectives and like they're trying to go over here.
So there's other stuff to do. That's cool.
Yeah. And like the vehicle upgrades are cool. It's cool to have like, I'm going to put monster truck tires, or right now they have a cow catcher
Oh, that's neat.
that you can put on the front of your vehicle and just like nail people. So it's
I haven't even seen the cars. Like, I was playing it before they added
there's
that.
like Lamborghinis and pickup trucks, and then there's like a logging area.
The last thing I remember is I used to. I apparently like I like to fly in the game. So when I was playing it, I guess a few years ago, they had helicopters.
There's a helicopter. The helicopter looks like the Cobra. Do you know the Cobra helicopter from G.I. Joe. It's like purple, where like the guy's like back peg goes into it.
Is it still like there's just a couple areas on the map where you can get the helicopter kind of thing? Or
They're
like
they're around.
they're around, yeah.
Well, right now there's like shield helicarriers in the sky where you can like fan up
because
to them.
it's got all the Marvel stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I don't know if they're shield helicarriers or they're from the storyline, but they kind of look like Marvel-y,
Right.
But that's going on right now. No conversation about Fortnite can go without flossing and the dances and all of that. Not a big part of the gameplay for me. Like everybody was talking like a year ago, 2 years ago, everybody's like Fortnite dance. Now, like I feel like it's all still in there
now.
It's all still in there, and when you're like the game's loading, like somebody in the lobby might do it, or if they win, they might do it. But it's like the dances don't really feel like a big part of it.
Okay.
As much as everybody said they did in the past.
I don't care about that part.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, it's a really freaking good game.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
It bothers me a little bit that so many kids are addicted to it. It bothers me that like the V-Bucks are like this money making thing.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely is stuff that I feel the same way. Like it is a fun game, but the thing that bothers me is like listen, like kids can do what they want to do and whatever, and like when I was a kid, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and our parents probably wanted us to do something different, or, but it's like the idea that like I feel like a lot of kids now, you're either playing like Minecraft, Fortnite, or like Roblox,
right?
Or it's like you have
and that's video games,
and that's video games, and it's like there's so much video games. I just feel like missing out if you're not trying a lot of other games.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
I think like when we were kids, a lot of we got a lot of things like baseball cards or like video games or like toys or like just different comic books, or it was all physical stuff that you could touch.
Yeah.
And you got to keep it. And if you stopped being into comic books, they didn't close comic books down. Like right now, you could get a comic book from 1992 and it would still be here. Right. But all these kids that are investing their birthday money and their Christmas money and their this and that in like skins for Fortnite, what do they have to look back on?
Yeah, like you're gonna like the servers will be down in 20 years,
or the say Fortnite's around in 20 years, the map will be completely different.
Right.
The guns will be completely different.
Like the shit that you buy probably won't exist 30 years from now. It won't exist. Somehow it's not going to exist. You're going to have what. So
it's kind of like the ultimate in disposable culture. Right? And it's like, I don't know. We talk about this a lot on the show about how like a game like Roblox, where a kid just plays Roblox, and they have all these mods and all these things.
Because like our parents and the grandparents and whatnot, like I always think of, like Walt Disney.
Yeah,
we both like Disney. Like Walt Disney was like a train guy, and all those old dudes like loved trains, and they would have train stuff their whole like lives. They have like train sets and all that. We grew up with like NES and all that, and like and comic books and like X-Men comics and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm sure you still have a bin somewhere of your X-Men comics, or you still have, I know that you have your bins of NES games. Exactly. When these kids that are growing up today are 50, what stuff are they gonna have? They're not going to Toys R Us
because they're gonna turn on their PlayStation 4 that they have. They dust it off,
and it won't.
And it probably won't even work
unless you bring it to somebody that's gonna fix it or something.
Or not even that. Like the software, like maybe somebody will put on like servers. Like a lot of games have.
Like if you really want to do it, there'll be a guy that has like a server running, but it won't be like. I don't know. Tough. Who knows what it'll be like?
I want to say my son is building a train table with his grandfather right now. And they got but they're not buying any of the new trains. All the trains they bought were like, they found at like flea markets and like they're like old trains. And he's having a blast and it's really cool. So like the train stuff's still hanging on. We go to these like antique shops where people have booths.
I never really liked, I was never really into the trains or
Yeah.
the engines that much themselves, but I liked all the accessories that would come with
Like
it.
the-
Like you
the
have like
little buildings.
like the stuff the train goes by.
Yeah.
Like there'd be like the circus and like there's this
Right.
and that. I was like, oh, I like and the little
Yeah.
figures and stuff. I always thought that those were cool. But
I
not
think
so
it's
much the
funny.
train.
He said to me, he's like, Dad, I just want to tell you, I don't like Star Wars. I don't like superheroes. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I like cars. I like to watch cars and trucks and trains and stuff. I'm like, good for you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Right.
It's funny that like the superheroes, the Marvel, the X-Men, Star Wars
Yeah.
is like he felt like it was like a cult. Like he had to do it.
Right.
Because all the other kids were like, oh, I'm seeing Doctor Strange. I'm doing this. He's like, no, I want to like ride my bike. I want to like do outdoor things.
I'm like that too. Like
Yeah.
I'm fine. Like I like superheroes like a little bit, but I've never been a big like superhero guy. Like it's
Right.
fine. I didn't even see the latest Spider-Man movie. I'll probably see it eventually, but
Right.
I'm not like I have to go see it. It's like
Yeah.
it's all right. It's fine.
I think that that's an important lesson for everybody, that don't feel like you have to play a certain game or watch a certain movie or be a certain way. Like definitely like the most successful people are people who chart their own path. I don't know. I guess that's our like Ben Franklin parable for the episode.
Well, I didn't think we were gonna get into that. But
Aesop's up next. What game do
so
you have?
I've got Wild Guns for Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo.
The Super Nintendo.
That's good.
I like how you have Fortnite and I have. That's like classic talk about games, right? I've got
Yeah.
Fortnite and I've got Super
Wild Guns.
Nintendo. Yeah.
So,
Have you ever played it?
probably.
Okay.
So I always used to confuse, like as a kid, I would confuse Wild Guns and Sunset Riders,
I mean, understandably.
right?
Yeah.
Like I think I probably rented Wild Guns sometimes and like thought it was Sunset Riders and
Yeah.
rented Sunset
Because
Riders.
it's supposed to it's the Western themed games on the Super
Right.
Nintendo. It's easy. It would be understandable to confuse them.
Yeah.
So Wild Guns is it's a Western type of game, but it's also like a robot invasion.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did that because you're just like shooting stuff continually. So maybe I don't know if this is true, but maybe they felt like if you're just gonna be shooting stuff the whole time, maybe we should make all the people robots. So
Right.
that's not so violent.
it was that time period where like Turtles did it, like everybody's doing
all
it.
that stuff. Like they were worried about with Mortal Kombat, the blood code and all that. So they were worried about the violence and everything.
I'm gonna ask you my one Wild Guns question. The UI, it feels like so much of the bottom is like the logo and stuff. Like the UI, like kind of takes up a lot of the screen.
That's a good point.
That kind of it's like why'd they put that there,
Probably my guess would be because you're continually like scrolling the screen. Maybe they wanted to make it a little bit more like wide screen because of the game, the way like works. Because you have to move the cursor. This is only a guess, but you have to move the cursor like to the left, and then when you move it like to the right, it scrolls the screen over a little bit. They made a remake of this game on Switch and all that, which is called Wild Guns Reloaded. That one, so the original Super Nintendo one is 4/3, obviously because it's on like Super Nintendo, but the new one is like in widescreen.
Right.
So my only guess is maybe they were trying to make it work with the
So
cursor
it was
somehow.
like letterbox, but they had to put something there. It couldn't be black.
Yeah, so they've had a logo there instead of it just
Yeah.
being nothing. I
Right.
guess.
Yeah,
don't
I
really
always looked
know.
at I looked at screenshots of that game and I'm like, that's kind of big.
A lot of the well, you know what's funny? Also, I guess that last Ninja game did that, where the whole bottom of the screen is like the Statue of Liberty thing
Yeah.
and all that. It's like I don't know. Some games, I guess they decide to do shit like that. It's
Right.
like these games where too much of the screen is taken up by other bullshit.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good thought. So this is a game that you start playing it and you need to get used to the controls. Before you're gonna have any fun with it. Like if you've never played the game before and you start playing it, you're gonna be like you're like just it's like frustrating when you first start
Right.
playing it because it's like fuck, like it's really hard and the controls like are tough to get the hang of kind of. I actually have it written down here like what it is exactly. So to fire your gun, it's Y. You can use the bomb with X. You jump with B, but the hard thing is that you have all these enemies, these robots shooting bullets at you. to get away from them, you can either like jump out of the way, or the main thing is this roll dodge you'll do. And the thing that you got to be able to like learn how to do is if you want to jump, you just tap B. But if you want to do this roll dodge, the whole time you're like firing and you're firing and you're hitting Y, you have to basically hit Y and B together. It's sort of like a jump, but when you're hitting those together, you're like roll dodging out of the way and doing the roll dodge and then doing the jump. It's like a thing to get used to,
Right.
And it's all very fast.
2-button inputs in like the 16-bit, 8-bit era are like hard.
They can be.
Like now, when you do 2 buttons, it's like very forgiving. Like you could, like it doesn't have to be frame perfect. Like to trigger it.
I wouldn't say it's like frame perfect to do that, but it's just something that you got to get down before you're even going to be able to beat the first screen.
Yeah.
The more you play it, the more fun you'll have with it. Like I always think of my example with this type of stuff is Shinobi 3. First time I played Shinobi 3, I had a very hard time with it. In that game, you're like going, and then the way you do like a double jump in that game is very hard to do because when you're in the air and you hit the button for that second jump, it has to be at the exact right timing.
Yeah.
There's like 2 frames or something, or you can't do it. So it's kind of like certain games you
Or like
gotta,
the wall jump in Super Metroid.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
I suck at that.
Yeah.
So certain games you gotta like get used to before you get to the point where you're comfortable with it. And this is a game like that.
And if you can't do the roll, you're just not doing it.
you're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
That the whole game is that roll dodge.
Yeah.
You also do have a lasso, but the lasso kind of sucks. So to get the lasso to go off, so you hit Y
Yeah.
to fire, and then there's like a crosshair on screen. But to get the lasso, you keep tapping Y a bunch, and then eventually the lasso will go out. I don't like it. You can beat the whole fucking game without the lasso. And what it does is, let's say there's a robot and you throw the lasso out, it'll freeze the robot, but only for like a second. So it's almost like not worth it, really. If you're like really fucking good and you like learn to do it, I'm sure it's good, but like I just don't fucking use it.
So is it like a tap, like a lightning kick Chun-Li, or like a
It's just like
Honda?
It's just like you keep hitting Y a bunch and eventually it goes out. It's not good. I don't like it.
So you don't use it.
I just don't use it.
Okay.
So I just forget. I just learned that I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people that are good with it. I just don't use it.
Yeah.
So what else do we got?
Not bringing you to the rodeo.
Not bringing me to the rodeo. So you get through the first stage. There's like a robot guy you kill, and then there's a stage select screen, and you can pick, the different stages that you want to do. This game might have been a good game for the Super Scope, I was thinking, because this is like a, what we call like a gallery shooter. It's sort of like, if you ever play like The Punisher on NES, or Dick Tracy on Genesis, or Terminator 2, the arcade game, it's kind of like, it's one of these where you would think you're using a light gun,
or
but
like,
it's the fucking D-pad.
Or like when you go to Disney and you have
That's the best.
the rifle.
Back in the day, there used to be a lot more of those around. You'd be able to find the shooting galleries, but I think the only one I know of left is in Disney World. And I'm always worried about. I took some video. Actually, I should put it into this. Last time I was in Disney World, I was doing that, and it's sad because I keep thinking, like, if Disney World ever decides to close that, where else is there one of those anymore? They used to be in the 80s. You could find them here and there, but now they're like all gone. It's like a lost thing.
Yeah, and they don't charge for it.
We want to talk. You want to talk about? We always talk about like the arcades being like lost.
What's going on with the shooting galleries?
Where the fuck are the shooting galleries? They're gone.
Right.
You know
what I think it is? Most people don't learn how to shoot nowadays, like how to hold it, how to look at the sight. Like it's not like a skill.
Right.
Like in fact, people don't want to teach people about.
You know what I'm fucking
guns,
worried about? Because we talked about. I think we did a Patreon feature, and they fucking got rid of Jessica Rabbit because some angry mother was like, "Oh, you can't be showing boobs."
Yeah.
Even though that's Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is one of these angry Disney moms coming along, and they're like, "You can't have the guns." And then they're going to take it out.
Oh, it's
I'm
coming.
surprised that didn't already happen, actually.
Yeah.
So I hope that it stays around. And actually, honestly, I'd really like to know, I'll read in the comments like later, if anybody happens to know if there are other shooting galleries that anywhere in the United States, like I'd love to know about them because I don't know.
I'd go
where
check
any
that out. I
are.
remember there used to be ones where like you'd shoot things and like water would erupt.
They were
and,
so
like,
cool.
Yeah, there was
They're
a lot
so
of
cool.
different things that would happen.
And you know what? They should come back because imagine if like you went out, I don't know, somewhere, you go to the mall or something, but they set up a shooting gallery. It doesn't have to be like Old West themed, and maybe that's part of the problem because a lot of people aren't interested in the Old West. But what if you did them and they were like, what if there was a Batman shooting gallery?
Right.
Or what, you know, or Star Wars or whatever. You could theme it off of things that, and the shooting gallery could come back. It could just be done modern.
I like it because it's very physical and it's like you want to shoot different things to see the reaction, and it's all like mechanical and things.
It's so neat.
It's neat. Those things are works of art.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you play as either Clint or Annie. They're the same.
Right.
Whether who you pick. I usually play as Annie, but when you're on this character select screen, you can select a different color for the characters. In the Reloaded game, they added 2 new characters, but I think they all pretty much play the same. I don't know. I haven't messed with the Reloaded much. This game was developed by Natsume, who did Pocky and Rocky,
Harvest Moon,
Jetsons on NES, Ryan.
Oh, wow.
Which is a very... People talk about hard NES games. I was able to beat that. Let me tell you, that's one of the hardest NES games.
Wow.
No, and nobody, you know...
Yeah.
Everybody put that on your goddamn YouTube list for hardest NES games from now on. Lufia 2, Shadow of the Ninja, and, of course, everyone's favorite, Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Game Boy Advance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Natsume.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
The example you're supposed to use is Harvest Moon, but I'm like Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
It's like
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They made a bunch of shitty Power Rangers games or whatever.
Right.
So here's one of the things about this and why I think not many people discuss it is because this game's fucking hard. You put the game on. Even if you get through like getting pretty good with the controls, it's still hard.
Yeah.
And you die in one hit. One of the bullets shoots you. You're fucking dead. And then you gotta do it again.
How many lives do you have?
You have 3 lives, and then you know what happens after 3 lives?
Is it game over?
Well, it's actually not. If it's the beginning of the game, it's game over. But if there's continue, it's actually unlimited continues.
Oh, okay.
So that part of it's kind of fair, but I like to. I haven't done it yet, but I'd like to do a run where I don't die. And that's where it's kind of like there's like replay value to the game because, sure, let's say you went through the game and you did beat it. Well, there's easy, medium, and hard. You can up the difficulty, or you could try to do it deathless or something like that. So there's actually a lot of replay. It's a short game though.
Okay.
So there's like 6 stages, and each one like you can get through it pretty quick, but you're probably not gonna because it's hard. So it's sort of that balance there. Another like little thing I got to mention about this is all the stuff in the background. So as you're shooting all the robots that come along, you're also, you know, trying to get points and you're trying to get other weapons and things like that. Like there's like a more powerful shotgun you can get, and you're always shooting stuff in the background to try to like there might be like a window in the background. If you blow that away, you might get an item, or if you like a potted plant or something like that, or a neon sign, you blow this stuff away, you're getting extra points, but you're trying to get these other weapons and stuff that you can get, or get more bombs and things like that. Like most games, the bomb is like you just save it until like you think you're gonna die, and like you use it, you know, at opportune moments. That's the bomb. And the other major thing that you can do though, and what's kind of interesting, is so there's all these enemies and they're shooting at you, and all these bullets are coming at you. When the bullets are coming at you, a little not thought bubble, but word bubble comes out, and it gives you like a little bit of a warning, because if you shoot the enemy bullet, it fills up your gauge a little bit.
Oh, wow.
So if your gauge, if you get good enough at that, and it's fucking hard to do, but if you get the gauge all the way filled up, you will get, for a limited time, I don't know how long it is, 10 seconds or something, your shot will become like a really powerful shot. Then you just like blow away everything on screen. That's really fun when that happens, but it's hard to do.
Yeah, the shooting of the bullets, that's an interesting mechanic. And I guess the bullets are
Yeah.
like flying pretty fast, so it's hard
It's
to...
very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but yeah, like you already mentioned earlier, the whole game pretty much is about that dodge roll. Stuff's being shot at you. You're dodging out of the way. You're jumping out of the way. You're shooting robots. It's just a good old classic fun time. It would have been a good rental back in the day. And I'm glad that they did like a remake of it. You can play it on the Super Nintendo like Switch online store has it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that has a rewind feature, so I don't prefer that. I'd rather do
Right.
just play it on an EverDrive or whatever. I actually do have the original cartridge of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's a really rare one. I bought it years and years and years ago because I did that video top Super Nintendo gems.
Yeah.
And I put it on my list. That was my number one Super Nintendo gem back in the day. And because of the fact that it's a rare game, not a lot of people had it. And whenever you think of a Western game, you're always thinking of Sunset Riders, not Wild Guns.
Right.
So and it was also before Wild Guns Reloaded. So I was like, that was my number one pick.
You know
for
what
that.
Wild Guns makes me think of? Wild Arms, the RPG for PlayStation.
RPG. I would get that confused.
Yeah.
And that's just like a sort of overhead 3D RPG
Yeah.
PS1 game, right?
Right.
Yeah, I never played that. Have you played it?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I used to have it.
Is it any good?
It's neat. It's like a Western RPG.
Oh, that's Western.
It's
Okay.
kind of neat. Yeah. So there's Wild Arms 1 and 2. I don't know if there's the 3. There might be a 3, but they're pretty cool RPGs. And,
Yeah.
you get that Western feel
Right.
in them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. I don't know. It's one of these games. I like to play tough games, so it's like I'm bringing like Axelite to the show and this kind of
Right.
shit. And it's like some of the stuff that I play is not for everybody, but I like to challenge myself, so I play hard stuff sometimes.
I really liked Xander's thumbnail on the Axelay because seeing the Axelay from the front view,
Yeah.
he like rotated it so you'd see it head on rather than top down.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and we have a Patreon where if you want to get any of those, are we calling them title cards? Thumbnails, I guess?
Thumbnails, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to get any of that art that he does, that's available on our Patreon. And that's about it.
We just ordered Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Eastward. What was the third one? We ordered another one. We ordered the next batch of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So the next 3 months of title cards.
Yeah. So yeah, check out our Patreon. We have a lot of content that's on there. If you haven't seen it before, we talk a lot about Star Trek. We talk a lot about other video games, all kinds of stuff, Disney, whatever. So check that out if you haven't yet.
One bonus episode every week. And then we also, all the title cards or thumbnails are available in wallpaper form. And you get a preview of what we're going to do in advance.
So go over there right now and subscribe or whatever. Is it called subscribe? No, become a patron.
Pledge,
people
become
say.
a patron.
Pledge. Go
Yeah.
pledge.
Yeah, go.
My
Like
chat always talks about spraying lemon and pledge on something, but
Oh my God.
yeah, there was a guy
Awesome.
in my chat a long time ago. I guess I'm going to just tell the story now.
Oh, here goes.
He would come into my chat and he had, I might have already told you this, but so he had his like cell phone in his car. And he's like, has my stream on in his car
Okay.
as he's driving.
That's not good. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But this is what the guy was doing. And then he's like typing to me as he's doing it. And he's saying, Mike, I'm watching your stream and I'm driving on the highway and I'm driving like really fast. And I'm like, don't do
That's like
don't do this. And he's like, I'm also jerking off with lemon pledge. That's where the pledge part comes from. And I'm like, okay. And then I never heard from the guy again. He probably went off the side. Of the
It's like that. It's like. It's like the Stan music video where he's like talking to Eminem. He's like, I'm driving 90 on the freeway. I'm gonna, and he drives off the bridge.
The last thing he sees is me playing like Adventure Island or some shit. It's
The cops like find it. It's still
it's
going.
still going. I'm like, fuck!
They're like, oh, I know why he did it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys,
Thanks
see
a
you
lot.
next week.
See you.
I think Capcom does a great job when they're adding like collaboration characters.
I've never been able to extend this way.
Oh god, I gotta get the helmet on. Oh god. Wait a minute, our guy's a bad guy the whole time.
I just think it's crazy that I'm better at video games now than when I was like 16.
That is how you fix all the problems with all these games.
I feel like toy distribution is so different than it used to be.
They resculpted over the chest. They gave him a flak jacket over it.
I laugh when I see Among Us, but I'm not having fun inside. It's a reflex.
No, you took my joke!